Virginia nodded, yes. And so one by one, the guests joined Petunia. They began slurping their soups from the bowls and gulping down their food. And one by one, they sat back and burped. What an original idea to break the ice, one lady sighed. Madame, the governor said as he kissed Virginia's hoof. Really, Ginger's hoof. I want you to be my most esteemed guest at the black and white ball tomorrow night. I shall send a call for you at 7. I smell trouble. Of course, Virginia got home way too late to soak in her mud once again. She spent a very restless night. The next morning, as Virginia heard her students, her nose twitched and her skin itched, and she grunted, groaned, and squealed. And she listened to every last one of these students all day, and by the time the car arrived to take her to the black and white ball, she looked very glamorous. She had put on one of Ginger's best gowns. The ball was in full swing when Petunia arrived. She was every inch the lady that Ginger would want her to be, until the hors d'oeuvre tray came by. She tipped the entire tray into her gaping mouth. She smacked her lips and made loud grunting noises. And just as she was about to head for the banquet table, the governor himself came up to her. Madame Folsom, the tango is playing. I've heard that this is your favorite dance. Could I have the honor? He asked with a sweeping bow. As the tango played, the governor swept Petunia onto the dance floor, and the two were tangoing from one side of the ballroom to the other in perfect unison. Petunia, haughty and indifferent. The governor, oily and smooth. Their dance was sultry and flawless until Petunia spotted a huge fountain full of chocolate mousse in the center of the banquet hall, and it looked just like mud.
Where is it? Oh, it's not good. Oh my God.
She pulled the governor toward the fountain of deep brown pudding. He dragged her back into the center of the dance floor. My dear, he whispered. Petunia picked him up and twirled him over her head and then tried to run to the chocolate goo. He landed right beside her, tipped her over backwards, and dragged her about the floor. Petunia dragged the governor by his collar back to the chocolate fountain. You are a most exciting dancer, Mrs. Folsom, the governor wheezed. Petunia now grabbed him by the ankles, swung him around and around, and up into the huge vat of chocolate mousse.
Oh my.
Then Petunia grunted and squealed and dove in after the governor. Now that is a tango, the governor trumpeted. Virginia Folsom was yet again the hit of a party. Everyone that was anyone at the ball jumped into the chocolate mousse too. Petunia should have been a very happy pig, but when she was driving home from the ball, she broke down. She began to cry. The dishes were waiting for her, and the vacuuming waiting for her, and the whole house waiting for her, and she really needed a mud bath. But when Petunia stepped into the house, the soft lights were on, and the opera was playing. The house was clean. The table was set, and flowers arranged. A delicious aroma was coming from the kitchen. And then she heard a familiar voice. Petunia, my dear pig, I see you have had quite a time. It was Ginger. Petunia jumped into her arms You know, my dear, we do get the news in London. I know everything. And then Ginger hugged Petunia. You did exactly what you had to do, and I promise that I will never, ever leave you again. Petunia nuzzled Ginger and grunted. And to think no one noticed that you were not me. Well, as I said, you always are what you wear. And Petunia, from what I gather, you were a great me.
Oh my God! No one's
At that very moment, Ginger put on Petunia's favorite opera, and they both, together, had a glorious, long, lovely wallow in the mud. Together. I personally think that Petunia should have gotten some very, very special award from her owner for being such a heroic pig. And do you know that pets, I'm sure a lot of you had pets, and I had a pet for 13 years. His name was BJ. Pets give us unconditional love. We love them unconditionally, they love us unconditionally. And in this book, Ginger and Petunia, it really shows us what unconditional love is. The lengths that she had to go to please and to make Mrs. Folsom happy. I hope you enjoyed that book.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Good. That makes me happy. I'm Liz Shanks, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Listen, Learn, and Grow. Our book today was Ginger and Petunia by Patricia Polacco. And remember, you are what you read. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Wouldn't you like to paint the picture? You could be a famous author. So let's sit down and read them now. We're going on a wonderful ride, so cuddle up right by my side. It's time to open a brand new book, so let's sit down and take a look. Then listen closely and you can be anything your mind can see. A jet pilot, a circus clown, a ballerina of great renown. 'Cause it's the story turn the page on the go your way. It's the story, listen, learn, and grow. So gather round like the penguins do. They play together like me and you. Just like the penguins, we spread our wings. Our parents teach us so many things. Books can do the same for you. They teach your mind what it can do. Just like the melody makes the song, imagination will make it strong. 'Cause it's the story makes your mind